Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. Today I just wanted to discuss the 5 most difficult things, in my opinion, as being like a Muslim revert. And yeah, let's get into the video. So the first one, losing friends and family and people thinking you're crazy. This one was very tough to start off. I did lose a bunch of friends actually when I reverted to Islam. I think some people just don't understand it and they're not willing to understand, as well as even like followers on social medias and stuff from people that I thought were my friends, you know what I mean? But yeah, family as well was very difficult. I have a very strenuous relationship with one side of the family because they see Islam in a very negative light, and growing up I kind of adapted to that as well from being taught that stuff, and it was difficult at the time. However, the other side of the family is extremely supportive. They're like, listen, it's your life, like do what you want to do, as long as you're a good person, as long as like you're a good Muslim, that's all that really matters at the end of the day, right? But yeah, that one was very tough as well. And the fact that, yeah, people think you're crazy all the time and it's not fun. They immediately just reject it right away, like you guys are terrorists, like you guys are this, like all the stereotypes you can imagine. It's like, why would you join that religion, like this that, like they're so evil, like this that. And people just don't understand and don't want to hear it out, you know what I mean? And it sucks because, to be fair, I remember, and I'll never forget this, one of my good friends at the time, he's not my friend anymore, unfortunately. I still think he's a great person, but I guess things didn't work out between us. I remember us sitting in a car near one of our buddies' houses, and he told me, he's like, listen, we started talking about religion, all that, so on and so forth. He's a pretty devout Christian, and this was years ago. This was maybe like 8-9 years ago. And we're sitting in the car, and he goes, Islam is the most violent religion ever. And he just starts bashing it and going at it, and like hearing this from somebody else like pretty devoted in their religion, I'm like, this is pretty interesting. Like everybody always tells me this stuff, like so on and so forth. And I believed it, to be honest with you, to a certain extent. I didn't believe extremely violent, like so on and so forth, but I believe that, oh yeah, these people probably can be violent, they can be bad people, like so on and so forth. But to be fair, you get that in every religion. Yeah, so that was tough at the time, and alhamdulillah, Allah guided me, and I'm extremely happy now. But it's really nice to find an objective truth and know that everything is real. Next one. This one was pretty hard for me. This one actually left a void in my chest, like a sense of emptiness, as weird as it sounds. Realizing everything you grew up knowing was a lie and letting like the old you die. It was unbelievably difficult. You feel like a sense of anxiety. It's like, I have so much to learn, and I'm not gonna say so little time, but that's what it feels like. I have so much to learn and I don't have like enough time. Like I never know when my life can end, like so on and so forth. But yeah, I remember realizing when it hit me that Islam is the truth. I was like, everything I've learned up until my life, going to church, learning about Jesus, learning about Christianity, all this stuff, I was like, this is all a lie. Like I've been deceived my whole life. And it sucks, but at the same time, it's a new journey. And I get to discover like Islam from a new lens. And the fact, like I'm going back again, the fact that it's objectively true makes me so happy and makes me so eager to learn more. It's a blessing in disguise. So that's an amazing part, as well as too, where there's darkness will also come light. So that's awesome as well. Third one, feeling like you're starting behind because you never grew up a Muslim. I see this in 2 ways. As bad as this sounds, I feel like most Muslims I see that grew up Muslim are not that practicing. Well, here in the West, I feel like, and I'm not gonna say that all Muslims who grew up aren't as on their deen, like aren't as strong to the faith, but I feel like reverts in any religion actually kind of take it more seriously because of they found a sense of truth. So it's like holy, everything I've learned, everything I try to prove wrong is inherently true. And this is wild that this is happening. And I get to experience this for the first time. And I'm very grateful that it's a double-edged sword again. Like, I didn't grow up a Muslim, which sucks because I feel like I'm far behind. But at the same time, I take it significantly more seriously, and I'm significantly more eager to learn because I never grew up with it, and everything is true. So it doesn't fall on deaf ears. It's like, yeah, I've heard this a million times, like so on and so forth. It's like, okay, like tell me more. Like, I want to know more about like Dajjal, like Judgment Day, like everything. I want to learn about everything, like all the hadiths, so on and so forth. And it's pretty awesome because there's always a layer of truth to everything. It feels like I'm behind because I don't know the language. Like Arabic, I never grew up with Arabic. And it's very foreign to me, and it feels like I don't get the true sense of like the Quran. Like, I think it'd be one of my dreams, or like one of my wishes, is to learn Arabic and be able to read it because it's from like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Like, it's from God. Like, how amazing can it be to read something from like the Most High? You know what I mean? But I'm fortunate enough to read in English. I'm fortunate enough that it's translated, even the hadith and stuff. And I'm fortunate enough that I'm able to learn more and more and more. And hopefully as I go along, I'll begin to pick up Arabic and understand more and more and more. Fingers crossed that I'll be able to do this. Lifestyle changes. I found it pretty difficult to make certain lifestyle changes. Like, for example, the hardest one for me, the two of the hardest ones was giving up pork. I know, I found it really difficult, and significantly cutting down on music. So when it came to drinking, essentially my thing was I didn't mind drinking. I liked drinking, and I would like drink at parties. I wouldn't drink that often though, to be honest with you. But the issue I had was when you're in a social setting, like you want to drink, you want to, you know what I mean, have a good time, so on and so forth. So I found what worked best for me to cut off drinking completely was essentially, this is going to sound really funny, but essentially my alcoholic beverage now is sparkling water. So I only drink sparkling water at social events, which gives me the illusion that I'm like having a party drink or drinking, because I'm not a big fan of pop or like Red Bulls and like stuff along those lines. So yeah, that's like my alternative to drinking. I don't do drugs either. I've never smoked in my life, never done marijuana, like really any of that stuff. Ever since reverting, I have a legitimate fear of doing it. Like, I know I will be punished. I feel like I'll be punished in some sense if I do it. So I don't know what that punishment will be, so I try to stay away from that stuff completely, but I never really had a problem with that stuff. Next would be pork. I really liked pork. I really miss shitties. It's like a Portuguese sausage, basically. And because I'm Portuguese, I used to have it a lot, and I like pork chops and like stuff like that. You know what I mean? So when reverting, that was the hardest thing to give up. And I remember one time, since I reverted, like I'd say like 5-6 months after, I went to an event, like a party, and they were basically all vegan. So they only had vegan food, except one guy brought like Polish sausages. And I was like, I really don't like vegan food. It's like, it was like vegan burgers. It was like beans and corn and stuff. And I was like, I will not eat that. And the other options were like chips, cookies, just basically sugar, like not actual food. So I ended up going, and I ended up accepting the pork that the guy gave me. I was like, I'll have like a Polish sausage basically, and I ate it. And I remember right after eating it, I felt so unbelievably guilty. During my salah, I was like super upset. Like there's a void in my chest, like a sense of anxiety or like guilt, like a sense of guilt basically. And I was like, yo, I am gonna try to stay away from this stuff for sure. That was the only time I had it since reverting. And I know there's no justification behind it, but I just felt like in my soul, I was like, dude, I cannot eat this stuff, and I am extremely hungry. So I ended up doing it at that time, and it was yeah, now that guilt was still there. So I still try to avoid it in every sense possible. This one was a very difficult one for me too, was significantly cutting down on music. I love music. I used to be an artist years ago. I used to make music. I used to mix, master, write, and produce. I don't really do it anymore though. I felt disconnect from it, but I really love the artistic ability behind it. And it always made me feel powerful in a sense, like clever. Like I really liked like kind of blowing my own mind with what I can come up with. You know what I mean? I've been trying my best to stay away from it. I listen to like nasheeds specifically more often now. However, I'm not 100% like off of music yet. I don't know how long that would take me because I really do like it. I really do like music. But I do try my best to kind of avoid it as much as I can in a sense because I understand the programming behind it. And if Allah was like, subhanahu wa ta'ala was like, don't do that stuff, there's a reason why he's telling us not to. And yeah, I do try, but it's gonna take me a little bit to be honest with you. But I think I've made specific progress to how I was before. I used to listen to it, wake up in the morning, listen to it when I'm brushing my teeth, on the way to work, like during lunch, at work. I've always had my earbuds in, and I just stopped now. And I didn't stop fully, but I significantly cut down from what I was before. Like you guys couldn't imagine how often I'd listen to it. Now it's only nasheed, and I try my best to stay away from it. Trying my best to learn Arabic and like learn about the Quran and like Islam more. It's difficult. Not being Arabic is very, very difficult. I feel like some people will say things sometimes, and being like a new revert, it's tough because there's words I'm like, oh, I don't know what that means, and I don't know how to spell that. Like I don't know how to spell that or like search that up, because when they say it, it's just I just don't know how to. I try my best, you know what I mean? And I'm like, damn, like I feel like there's a gap now where I don't understand the context or whatever, so I have to be taken aback or just try my best to ask somebody else or so on and so forth. And yeah, it's tough. It sucks in my opinion not being able to right now anyways. I know it's progress, like slow progress, but it sucks not being able to read the word of Allah, like subhanahu wa ta'ala, like the word of God. You know what I mean? Like if you understand Arabic, you're extremely, extremely fortunate. If you grew up Muslim, you're extremely fortunate to be able to understand all that stuff. Like you don't understand how lucky you are to grow up in that space, have all your family be Muslim, them guide you to be able to understand and read it, going to the masjid, like understanding all this stuff, and like now as a revert, I feel, like I said before, very behind. I feel extremely behind. And now I feel like I have to learn as much as I can, and I only have like a very short amount of time, because you never know when your day is. And I know it's not good to look at it like that, but that's what it feels like to me. It's tough. It's tough to realize that stuff. But yeah, I try my best. And I honestly think that hopefully, inshallah, one day I'll be able to read it. I don't know when that day is, but I hope Allah makes it easy on me, to be honest with you, to at least understand it and read it and be able to respond to it. And like, you're learning a new language, which is cool at the same time, but if something so amazing is in that language, it'd be awesome to understand it the way it was meant to be understood. So inshallah, one day, hopefully it happens. This is a difficult challenge as well, or it kind of hurts my heart, is the aspect of death for people who are Muslim. So like seeing my family. So I have people in my family who are extremely devout Catholics. Extremely. Like I can't even comprehend, like you wouldn't be able to comprehend how connected they are to their faith. And based on like their age and stuff, it'd be tough to do dawah because they're older and stuff, and they're very connected to their religion. It's difficult as a Muslim to realize that like they're essentially disbelievers. Like they pray to God. It's tough to know when they die like what will happen. Like it's kind of, I know Allah judges everybody based on their circumstances, based on what they know, so I can never say, But it's tough to realize, for me anyways, that like it makes me a little upset. It's like it's hard on the chest. It's like I love this person. I hope they make it to like heaven in the afterlife, like Jannah. It's a little tough. You guys are very fortunate, especially if your family's Muslim, to grow up in that environment in society, because you guys all have the same chance, you know? And I'm not saying that it's not impossible that of course your family can like revert to Islam or like find the truth or be guided by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but it's one less thing to worry about, you know? And since our life does start in the afterlife, it's tough to imagine the end of it all just being the only one in your family who, you know, has a possibility of truly like living it out and making it to paradise. I'm not saying I am 100%, but I'm just saying based on what I've learned, and I know Allah is the one to judge, judges everyone differently based on our circumstances, and He knows us all the best. But just knowing what I know as a human at this point in time about what I learned, it's tough. It's very difficult. And all I can hope is that Allah guides us and, you know, puts us all on the straight path. You know what I mean? But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Yeah, if you guys are reverts as well, if some of you are reverts as well, I'm curious to know about you guys as well. Everybody comes here differently, and I'm very fortunate enough to realize how things played out in my life to put me in this situation or scenario. But I think I'm gonna save that for another video. So inshallah, Allah guides us, and just try your best. Try your best to be the best you can be, because only Allah knows our intentions. Anyways, guys, have a great day, and again, may Allah guide us. Goodbye.